When I was serving as governor of Massachusetts, Senator Markley State over there, I would hear occasionally some stories that gave me some concern. Let's say that a lumper in Massachusetts, by the way, you probably don't know what a lumper is, but this is a person who unloads a fishing boat and works in a canning factory, a fishing factory. And this person lost their job because of overfishing or regulation or whatever. I'm not getting into that. But if they lost their job, they then were overwhelmed with the process of trying to get unemployment and maybe some housing vouchers and perhaps TANF. And then they needed job training because those lumping jobs are not going to come back. And I looked at how many federal job training programs there were. There were 49 at the time. And I would hear that a person that had lost their job was overwhelmed with the complexity of getting help. I mean, is that a real problem? Do people who are in one profession that maybe is going away and need help, do they have a hard time figuring out how to access the various government programs that might be available to them? Dr. Bly-Jones, do you have a thought on that?
So usually what happens, thank you for the question, usually what happens is it's a rapid response team that goes out and they are notified at the state level when an employer is actually facing a layoff of individuals. And so a rapid response team is sent out to that employer to talk to individuals about the resources that exist. So it's at that time that they may learn about the different federal services that you mentioned. And so in theory, it would be seamless, and that is the intention. And then they go from there into what is referred to as American Job Centers that are located in most local communities, again, to be able to actually access resources.
But the job centers are not going to have TANF or housing vouchers or unemployment insurance, right?
No, they would have an individual you would talk to, and they would have all of those services there. It's considered a one-stop center.
Not at the job center. The one-stop center, that's what I'm getting to, which is a governor smarter than me, Mike Leavitt of Utah, had an idea, which is instead of having all these offices separate, the job training and the TANF and the housing and so forth, let's have one office. And let that one office help an individual that became unemployed. And that worked extremely well for the state of Utah. That unfortunately is prohibited under law at the federal level. We can't put those offices together. And only one state was grandfathered to allow that to occur, and that was the state of Utah. I have introduced a piece of legislation which is known as the One Door to Work Act, which would allow as many as 5 other states to be able to also do what Utah does, which is have a one-stop place where individuals can go to get help with unemployment, housing, TANF, food stamps, as well as job training. Mr. Dickerson, you come from Louisiana. Louisiana is one of the states that said we would love to be able to do that. And I'm delighted that, for instance, the ranking member and other members of this committee support this idea. Is that something which you believe would be helpful in your state?
Yes, sir. That's the work of our Louisiana Workforce and Social Service Reform Task Force that was put together by the governor and our Secretary of Workforce and Department of Child and Family Services as well. And it's both sides of it. It's not only for the employee, but also for the employer. But to your point, one challenge that we've heard in our conversations at the local level around the one-door policy is to make sure that those one-stop centers are appropriately staffed to accommodate all of those services, and that those staff members are educated so that when that individual does come in, they not only get access to the services, but the service delivery mechanism is there to meet them. And that's something we would support.
Yeah, excellent. I would just note one more thing, which is that Governor Leavitt and the Utah program assigns a caseworker. As soon as someone becomes unemployed, they get a caseworker that begins helping them with everything from the support they need for safety net services, at the same time to lay out a plan for getting them back into the workforce and training. It's an extraordinary program working well in the state of Utah, and I'm delighted that the ranking member and others in this committee support this idea of letting at least 5 other states get the chance to try this on a temporary basis and see if it's working well for them. I know Louisiana, Texas, other states have said, please let us do this. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.